Environmentalists are outraged after government gave French-owned company TotalEnergies the green light to drill 5 oil wells 60 kilometers off the Cape Point, despite 17 different grounds for appeal from activists. The Minister of Environment and Forestry Fisheries, Creecy, dismissed the appeals. Neville Rooy, who's a community outreach coordinator from the Green Connection, joins us now. A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. According to a statement of yours, you, together with the 16 other groups, appealed this authorization, yet despite that, Minister of Resources and Energy, Minister Creecy, dismissed the appeals. This must have left you reeling in disbelief.
Yeah, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to the viewers, and thank you for this opportunity. Yes, we are very much disappointed at the Minister of Environment not able to act in the interest of the environment and rather act in the interest maybe of her party and of TotalEnergies. If we use a bus analogy, getting into the bus with TotalEnergies and dropping communities under the bus. And this is truly disappointing for us as civil society organizations, to say the least.
As civil society organizations, on what grounds were you hoping to persuade the minister and government to set aside the environmental authorization granted to the French energy company by the department?
Yeah, we've made on the grounds of climate change. We are in a climate crisis, and that crisis needs to be taken serious. It's also an existential crisis, and we have seen the reactions of the oceans just in a few days ago, how the oceans has reacted because of climate change and the impact of climate change and fossil fuel that exacerbate climate change. And now, shockingly, we have ministers that is now making decisions that continue to exacerbate the climate crisis, which is fossil fuels. And that is truly, truly disappointing for us, and acting not in the interest of climate, not in the interest of the ocean, not in the interest of the fishing livelihoods that's dependent on the oceans. And that is truly disappointing for us as a group.
We know that in this very short time, Minister Creecy has enabled 2 oil and gas prospecting authorizations in the country's oceans, the first being what you're reacting to, and the second appeal being the granting of environmental authorization to Minister Mantashe's department for a seismic survey off the west coast. Now, I mean, these moves must have you questioning the minister's motives, more especially because it's under her watch that South Africa is now being ranked the worst carbon emitter in Africa and one of the 12 highest carbon emitters in the world.
Yes, indeed. The people of Cape Town need to be very, very, very much concerned and angry at this decision, because on the one side of the mountain, they will have another green light being given of an oil company. And just on the other side of the mountain, there's a seismic survey that is also approved. And people need to be aware of this concern. And we're talking about fishing communities and fishing livelihoods on both of these ends of the mountain, to say the least. And really, this is a big concern. And the court has really taken a decision against the seismic survey that basically talking about blasting down the ocean. You know, when we are talking about the law in South Africa, on the Constitution of South Africa, talking about Section 24 that says we have a right to an environment that is not harmful to our health and well-being. Pollution in the ocean is not a healthy ocean. And oil rig for 10 years in the ocean is not a healthy ocean. Underground water pipelines in the ocean is not a healthy ocean. Underwater noise level in the ocean is not a healthy ocean. So definitely here violating the rights of ordinary people in South Africa and our constitutional rights according to Section 24.
Tell us a little bit about the Shell judgment from the Makhanda High Court and the judgment from the Cape Town High Court in the Searcher case. What did it have to say about considerations around exploration and production? Because just based on that, one would have thought that government and Minister Creecy would have taken that into account before reaching this decision.
Yeah, you know, that decisions was basically on the National Environmental Management Act that speaks about considering the voices of the community, whether it is cultural impacts that most of our communities around the coastal towns have cultural connections to the oceans, and there is environmental concerns, and then there is economic livelihoods concerns that we have pointed out, and then we're also talking about the environment that is calling out, like the migration patterns and the noise levels and breeding zones that we are particularly concerned about in these areas where they now want to go and drill. And that was also pointed out in the Shell judgment as well. And that needed to be considered. And that judgment was for the environment as well as the livelihoods of people that needs to be considered and respected in this case again. And we are so shocked that the minister has not even taken that into account as well. While some of the 17 appeals has referred to look at specifically those cases, she has shockingly ignored that.
Minister Barbara Creecy has also recently announced that she was embracing a 30 by 30 campaign, which essentially speaks to the ambitions for declaring 30% of the country's oceans protected areas by the year 2030. Are you convinced by her utterances, or perhaps do you think it's just a smokescreen so that oil and gas extraction can continue at a fast pace in the rest of the ocean?
Yeah, we really do think it's just a smokescreen, because what we have seen is a whole range of applications from the Northern Cape up in as close to the border of Namibia all the way to Mossel Bay side. There is one company that is particularly irritated and, come again and again at fishing communities that has to leave their livelihoods and go to the streets and go to the oceans to go and defend that. To us, it is more oil and gas development. Why can't fishers' livelihoods be developed? Fishers in this country does not even have slipways to go in and out with their boats. They are still complaining to local governments and our government to assist them in this regard. But we see more preference and almost like a blue eye boy treatment being given to oil and gas companies, while the fishers in this country have to beg and continually go and protest just for a normal slipway to be built into their ocean territory so that they can do their everyday activity of fishing in the oceans.
What hope is there then for environmental and climate justice in South Africa?
Yeah, we really are not going to allow even this decision to keep us from making our voices heard. We will study the minister's appeal and take the necessary steps with our legal department to have a response very, very soon. And we will continue to fight for people's livelihoods. We will continue to fight for the oceans. We will continue to fight for the protection of the oceans and for the livelihoods that is so dependent on the ocean. And that is a just transition we are talking about. That is justice that we want to, have. Why is multinational companies getting preference over the livelihoods of ordinary communities in this country?
Very well. Thank you so much for weighing in on this discussion. We will continue to keep a close eye on the movement around this. Neville Van Rooy, Community Outreach Coordinator for the Green Connection